Hey guys, welcome to our course. I wanted to take you on a little tour to help kind of get you familiarized with the way that our course is set up, and maybe give you some tools to get off on the right foot. So this is the front page of our course. So at this point, I'm assuming that you know how to get into a course. As you probably know, this is your little this little icon will show you your different courses to get into, but I'm going to assume you've already gotten here. So the first thing that you're going to always want to look at are these announcements. I try to not overpost on announcements, but make sure I post at least once or a couple times a week, and it should always be pertinent information to you, tips, tricks, questions that have been asked that need to be covered. So make sure that you're reading those. I've found that students who read the announcements tend to be my better students and tend to do better in the course because they have more information. It just makes sense, kind of like reading an instruction manual versus just trying to wing it on your own. So make sure that you're not looking over those announcements. Okay, there are a couple of other things in this course that I think are super helpful just from like a structural perspective, to help you find information and kind of know what's going on. So the first thing that I really want to show you is this cool thing that we had put into lesson 1, and maybe you won't think it's so cool, but I think it's really cool. It's this Psych 350 course overview. So I am a big picture person, and going into a course, I want to see the big picture. I want to know what my routine is. I want to know what to plan for. So that is what this course overview is going to do for you. It shows the lesson or week here, and then what your assignments are, when they're due, and then you can kind of get that sense of that repeating pattern. So that way you can know, okay, in my social psych class, every week I have to complete the reading quiz by Tuesday, complete my chapter quiz by Thursday, and then, I have these certain assignments by Saturday. Now, for the most part, we have repeating assignments. Occasionally it kind of changes week by week. So this is something that, to be totally honest, I print out a paper version of a calendar, and I make sure all of this stuff is written down, and I reference it all the time. So I don't know what kind of a learner you are. If you're the kind of person that likes to click through, I like to just have that handy paper to pull out and be like, okay, what am I doing this week? What's due? So I would highly recommend that, but you don't have to do that. And a great way to find this again is bookmark it. And then that way, when you come back to your content here, you can go to bookmarks. You can see that's my only bookmark right now. But I'm going to go back and look at this with you guys. So kind of the repeating schedule is that every week on Tuesday you complete a reading quiz, Thursday you complete a chapter quiz, and then Saturday you'll get together in these small groups that you're going to be in all semester, and you're going to talk about these short answer questions that you have to answer every week, that you get to select like 5 questions, and you answer those, and it's about topics from the chapter, and then you'll have turned those in by Saturday evening, but you can have gathered with your group anytime during that week that works for you. You're going to kind of get in those groups depending on your schedules, and meet at a time that works for you. Sorry, it's just put here because that's kind of the deadline to get together with your group. And you're going to talk about those answers, go over anything you're confused about. You can also use that as a study group for the exams. You can also, 3 times during the semester, you'll evaluate a research article. So, and then turn that in. So you can use that group to talk about those. So this is really kind of like setting up a study group for you guys of people who you know that you can turn to if you need help. So, great resource. So you can see kind of your first and second week are just a teensy bit different because, we're giving you a little time to ease into it. So for instance, your reading quiz is due here instead of here, and here you're forming your groups. But overall, this is going to be the general schedule, right? So here again, reading quiz, chapter quiz, gather in your group, you need to make sure you've gathered in your groups that week, responded to your short answer questions. And then this time you'll have a unit exam. So you're going to have 4 exams throughout the semester. 1 in lesson 4, 1 in lesson 8, 1 in lesson 12, and then you'll have your final in lesson 14, and the final will have kind of a cumulative section. It'll have a short little section of kind of covering this last chapter, just a few questions on that, and then it'll be cumulative over the rest of the semester. Okay, and then again with the repeating schedule, so the week before each exam, you'll evaluate your research article, you'll evaluate a research article, and then you'll evaluate a research article here. So you can kind of see how it's the same schedule throughout. So I'm going to stop talking about this and I'm going to let you look at it on your own. But like I said, if I were you, I'd put it up, I highlight things so that way I can kind of see the patterns. And I think it's so much more helpful to look at it that way. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to show you is that every single week, and sorry, this is all kind of like organizational stuff, but like that really helps me. So every single week in the lesson overview, there's also a little broken down box, that when I mean broken down into that week, that shows you what your assignments are for that week. So always go into that overview and it'll show you exactly what you have to do that week, the days that it's due. And I think that's really helpful too. So you've kind of got that bird's eye view overview that you can reference throughout the whole semester to kind of plan ahead. But then you've also got these weekly things that are going to keep you up to date in the week. So also, as you can see, your first things are due on Tuesday. So that means you probably are going to want to be logging in before Tuesday. I know that it's hard and that sometimes because you're online and you're in different places, you like maybe have a day that you set aside to do all of the work. But that doesn't really work here. Like you need to be checking in multiple times a week, preferably every day. I know that's a lot to ask, but that's where you're going to be the most successful if you're checking in a lot and you're making sure that you're staying on top of these patterns. Okay, so let me show you just a couple of more things in the course that we just need to go over really quickly. And I'll just go into a later week just because that will probably have more stuff in it. So the reading quizzes are supposed to be kind of like helpful, just trial and error kind of quizzes. So you actually have 3 attempts. It's open book, open note. So this is really just trying to help you with your reading and your studying. Okay. So then the second quiz that's due is the chapter quiz. And the chapter quiz is different. It's 1 attempt, closed book, closed note. So you can kind of see the first one is kind of like a practice quiz where you got multiple attempts and it's open note. And then the second one is more like, okay, now you're actually trying to take a quiz and make sure that you're knowing the information. Okay. So those happen each week. And then another reason I chose lesson 4 is that you have an exam this week, lesson 4. And something that's a little different with our exams, I don't know if you guys have had this in any other courses, but in this course, you will be taking your exams using some proctoring software called Proctorio. So what you'll have to do, and I think in one of the earlier lessons, well, I know in one of the earlier lessons, I don't want to give you the wrong date, but you will do a practice exam that will help you set up Proctorio. But what it is you have to have a webcam, and it's a Google extension that helps proctor exams to make sure that basically people aren't cheating. And you have to take your exams using this Proctorio. If there's no way that you can do Proctorio, then honestly, you need to drop the course. Like there's just no other option in this class. So, and I hate to say that because I don't want to lose anyone. So I'm assuming that if you're online, you have access to that. So so this gives instructions about what to do with Proctorio. But they're closed book. You have 1 attempt, and you just take the exam. So something to keep in mind, a lot of people last semester or in previous semesters have gotten really stressed about Proctorio. They feel like kind of paranoid and they feel like it kind of amps up their anxiety. And we kind of have this list of things like don't leave your seat, don't fall asleep, don't eat or drink, like all of these different things. And And those are good. Those are good. Like you need to know those and you should be aware of those. But basically the reason that we're just letting you know is that those are kind of the expectations for an exam. I mean, it's just like a proctored exam anywhere. But just so you know, it's not like if your eyes wander off to the side once or twice to like just out of natural looking around for a second or thinking, it's not like all of a sudden you're going to like fail the exam or something, or that it's going to close up. So I get reports, that they have monitored people's behavior, and then I ultimately make the judgment call. And so if your behavior is within like a range of normal test taking behavior, I make that judgment call. So hopefully that doesn't make you too paranoid. However, I will say that there have been people who have cheated, and it makes me really sad, and it's pretty obvious. So, yeah, so unfortunately, I know there's a lot of people that feel annoyed that we have to use Proctorio, but just the fact that I've already had a few people who weren't as honest as they could have been, is sad and makes us realize why we have to do it. So, bummer that a few people ruin it for everybody else, but the upside is you still get to take an online class somewhere else and use this awesome software. So, there will be more discussion about that as the semester goes on, but I just wanted to kind of start you off, making you aware of that. So there's more things to know in the course, but those are kind of the big highlights that I wanted you guys to be aware of. So, anyway, I'm excited to get to know all of you over the course of the semester, and I hope that this kind of helped you to have some idea of how to navigate the course a little bit, and how to be aware of the schedule and some of the different requirements that we have. Thanks, guys.